Hello Marvel Heroes fans, this is a video request on Wolverine. He has recently received his unique review and a lot of you are very interested to see if he's better or worse or whatnot. So this video is about Bleed build. I'll talk a little bit why I picked this particular build later with all the numbers to show you and so on. I'll also talk about the two toggles that he has, which one's better for what scenario. And also, I have two builds for Wolverine. One is for the Cosmic Terminal, whereby DPS is important, while another one is for Cosmic Patrol, whereby survival is important. So I'll talk about gear, I'll talk about the build, I'll talk about the Omega system, hero synergy, and show you guys some of the numbers if you are interested to know a little bit more about how I make certain decision on Wolverine. Alright, so without further ado, next bit of the video is the in-game video for Wolverine. Alright, Wolverine with the Cosmic Patrol facing off a whole bunch of villains here, and with me also is my wife in Cup, who's playing the Rocket Raccoon over a distance, and a lot of like those kind of Ultron stuff, and those are really hard for the melee. And I mean, you can't really see a lot that happens with the Wolverine, but you could observe the, I guess, on my hotbar, or the cooldown and what is on cooldown and so on. So there's a couple of like a really big hit stuff like the Impale, Eviscerate, and those are pretty big hitting stuff, as well as of course the signature, which is the Righteous Furious Assault. Alright, so I'm using the signature right now. Pop the wet word, Impale, go back, jump back in, just spreading all the bleeding, free of that gracious wound. That is about how we play the Wolverine. Wolverine is very nice when it comes to rotation. The problem is always about the survivability in the Cosmic Patrol environment. So only last boss to go, and this should come out pretty well. Alright. Okay, so yep, looting time. So that is Wolverine with the Cosmic Patrol. Okay, Man-Ape and Wolverine, let's get out of this one, won't survive that one. Okay, let's do again. Spread the bleed, Impale, then Wet Word, then the Furious Assault, get out from there. I think I got hit, but it's alright, it's Wolverine. Impale, Eviscerate, and then just need to hit with my basic power to get my Fury back up, and after that Eviscerate and the Impale again, get out from this one, jump back in, Crimson Leap, and the Bloody Sweep. Alright, and just spam the cooldown, which is the Wet Word as well. So yeah, I mean there's not a lot of action you can see, but you can probably understood a little bit more if you look at the hotbar and see which one is on cooldown. So that's pretty alright, because there's quite a lot of pets going on here. Yeah, so that is Man-Ape with the Wolverine, and my wife in Cup playing Rocket Raccoon. So this is Green Goblin, then the wave. You see my Raccoon is already there, doing the nuclear bomb to get out from here. Alright, sometimes a little bit lag, want to get out but you can't. So yep, that is also Impale and so on. Get rid of all these totems, because those boost quite, the boss quite a fair bit, especially the healing part of it. So just take care of those totems, and don't get charged by Rhino. So when you play Wolverine, it's very much like a single target, killer, and just abuse that part. Okay, get out from this, Blue Eyes one shot. So yeah, all right. So just this is signature time. You can't really see it, but it is there. All right. So Impale is up. So I'm going to impale someone. Let me see, Green Goblin maybe. So just keep the layer of bleed on. So Eviscerate when I can, and signature, Wet Word, signature, Impale, Eviscerate, and Impale. So that is about it. Do the shout when the time comes to recover some some fury. But I mean, having this build is quite nice. It's not that intensive when it comes to whoa, hang on, comes to a fury. Okay, I need to take care of my raccoon. Don't know where she is. Must be somewhere somehow. Okay, the rhino is there doing a charging. Is eviscerate, bad word, and signature. Furious assault, impale. Get out, and the 3 layer of wound or bleeding. Alright, eviscerate and get out. Time to impale. Alright, so that is how to enjoy Wolverine in Cosmic Patrol. Alright, Cosmic Curse and versus Wolverine and Wolverine as a team up. My team up's only 27, but all in good spirit. I mean, I really wanted to make a video with these 2 Wolverines. Now, the stance I'm using is Chudan no Kame, alright, and here we go. So when it comes to playing Wolverine, just he's very good at single target, but just to make sure that the problem is always of course, the problem is always the area damage that he seems to be a little bit lacking, and to regenerate Fury, you have to keep using the Pharaoh Roar, but at some time you probably have to either use a signature or the basic power, because there's a thing that he does to regenerate Fury. The Fury doesn't come back up, unlike the spirit or whatnot. So you can see that he seems to be struggling a little bit on the on all these all these mobs that is just everywhere and anywhere, and it's kind of frustrating in some sense, because for other heroes you can clear the whole page of mobs quite easily. For him, you have to be pretty careful where he stands and so on. So I mean, when it comes to Caustic Terminal, when you want to do a bounty, of course, it seems a little bit slower. But that's not my major complaint. My major complaint is Cosmic Patrol, when it could be deadly if you don't kill off the mobs fast enough. Single target doesn't mean anything when it comes to Cosmic Patrol. It's about how fast you can dispatch the whole cohort of mobs around you. So I mean, he's very good at single target. There's no doubt about it. But have to be careful a little bit when it comes to the area kind of thing. So have to be really careful. Alright, so you can see that I'm keeping a lot of a hopper dancing, because my function key 3 is the Pharaoh Roar that gives me back the Fury. It's just unfortunate when it comes to Wolverine is that there are so many power to use, and it doesn't help at all when it comes to all these things, because I'm a bleed build. I need to have all 3 layers of bleed, which is going to be the Bloody Claw, Bloody Sweep, as well as the Crimson Leap. So those are my 3 layer of bleed. After that, I use Eviscerate to have my big payoff, and on top of that, I've got Impale as well. Then you have the Wet Word and Signature. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of things that go on with Wolverine. So now I use Impale. Impale is huge. It hit really huge. But in this sort of situation, when you have a lot of mobs around you, there's nothing much you can do but to just pick them up one by one. So yeah, I mean, that's always been a little bit challenging when it comes to playing Wolverine in this sort of area kind of environment. Alright, so now I'm going to face off Curse, and I'll do my best with my buddy here, Wolverine. So Wolverine and Wolverine without a full fury, but hey, what the hell. Let's go in, and the Impale, signature. Alright, and 1, 2, Eviscerate again. Oops, I missed it. And Impale coming up, and it should do the job. Alright, so yeah, I mean, that is the rather alright kill time, I guess, for Wolverine, single target. Alright, so that is the Cosmic Curse, and I hope to show you a little bit more maybe Mandarin and Taskmaster, since I have this weekly quest. Alright. Hydra Island, and we have Wolverine and Wolverine on a mission. Alright, so let me check my toggle. It's there. Sometimes you can't miss it. And I mean, I do enjoy Wolverine quite a fair bit when it doesn't come into those scary moments of a Cosmic Patrol, whereby because of the number of mobs that you have, and it could be quite quite scary for Wolverine, but I mean all these are pretty manageable. Alright, so one thing great about Wolverine also is the signature cooldown is so short. I can just burn it with anything. Just use it to sort of like pump up my fury, because I use a lot of fury when I do the Crimson Leap and so on. So I'm trying to get like a bounty here. No particular reason why I need to kill off all these things, and of course I need my weekly for my influence quest weekly. I don't know why I'm still doing that, but sort of like I'm addicted to doing more dailies and weeklies. Right, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Okay, let me see what I can do. Maybe I'll just clean some kind of like bloody sweep everything off. Alright, Wolverine, yay. Yeah, one of the reasons why I like to play Wolverine actually is the comic book, because I really enjoy the kind of character, Wolverine himself, and the being X-Men, being like so close with the Avengers as well. I can't really say I'm an Avenger fan, because sometimes you just have to choose a side when it comes to reading all these books, and especially those Avenger versus X-Men, and I always enjoy my X-Men a little bit more. Although these days the Avengers are growing on me because of the movie. I mean, Avenger movie is so much better than the X-Men one Sony does. I think they should, Marvel Studio just should get it back the right somehow, soon, to do a better job in terms of the whole movie universe of it. All right. So yeah, enough of that. Let's talk about Wolverine. I'm using a basic here because without the basic, it's getting a little bit hard to regenerate all this fury. And his basic is all right. Another option, of course, is you see I got stuck here. This bug is still around. I can't get out. Right? Look, So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of those bugs that is still there after 2 years, or after I don't know how long this bug's been around. So I'm trying to get a bounty here. The funny thing is that for all of you who has been farming Mandarin and have seen something called ESP box, I have not seen in my life before. Like my wife play Rocket Raccoon, and she went in one day and she suddenly like, ooh, what is this artifact? Is it useless? Should I trash it away? No, this is ESP box. It's like I've been farming it for years and never ever dropped. Yeah, I mean some people have all the luck and some people don't, but that's fine. I enjoy this game regardless. So I'm using my signature here, which is the Furious Assault, and the web word is really nice. It's a very nice buff. You can see that he moves a lot faster. Alright, so sometimes I do forget the buff though, the Pharaoh Roar, because of because it's not on my hotbar. And once it's not on my hotbar, it's very hard for me to monitor the cooldown. But fortunately, I don't need to really use it on cooldown. I just need to use it every 30 seconds to make sure that I've got my accuracy team buff is on. But that's about all I use it for. Nothing too fancy on the power. So I can afford to put it on somewhere that I cannot see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys build your Wolverine, or some of you may be watching this video to validate certain things, but I do find that a little bit hard to manage all this like toolbar, the hotbar dancing part of it, because I can't really fit everything I want into the hotbar, not even the vulnerability power, because in as much as possible, I always wish to build my hero to have the vulnerability debuff. Wolverine, I can't even cope with the kind of like power. I could have though. I put one point in one of the power that gives me vulnerability debuff, but I just can't. I can't cope with that many stuff on my hotbar. Even though I have an MMO mouse, some of you may have know that I have a mouse that support a lot of like power. Kind of hotbar dancing. I could have done that, but still, I don't think I can really enjoy the game. But it would be nice with the kind of like extra 10%, kind of like damage output because of vulnerability debuff. Alright, so I don't have it, but that's fine. So I have enough, just enough mob to go into Mandarin. I'm hoping for the ESP box, and I can feel it. It should be there for my ticking soon. So now I'm going in with the wet word and so on. Just observe the hotbar that I have. So I'm going to have the wet word and I jump back in 1, 2 accelerate and the impale and the signature. Alright, so yeah, I mean that is really, see, never drop, right? I mean, you know, you guys seen it. You should all write into a Gazillion website and say that this ESP box is kind of like a bug for some players. It never drop. How about this one? You see, never drop. It just never does. Alright, so yeah, I mean, I hope I give you some idea how the whole cosmic terminal running with the Wolverine, and yeah, I mean, you know, let's go back to the training room and talk a little bit more about his build and gear. All right. Welcome back to the training room. I hope you've enjoyed seeing some of these in-game videos on how Wolverine plays like. And this part of the video is about the build, about the numbers behind all the rationalization on what to choose and so on, the gear, Omega system, and a little bit of rotation as well, just in case you need some help on that area. When it comes to build, I have two builds like I've said before. One is for the Cosmic Terminal, whereby DPS is important. Another one is the Cosmic Patrol, whereby survival is important. So let me talk about the DPS one first. Okay, you know, for Wolverine is very much like a bleed build. So you know, things like the Bloody Cross, Bloody Sweep, as well as the Crimson Leap. All of these apply a stack of grievous wounds, and then, you know, with all these 3 wounds going on, when you do a eviscerate, you get a bigger payoff, so you get extra 60% when all these three bleed happens. All right. So if you look at just this part of the gameplay, is very much like you know, if you play other games like World of Warcraft Rogue as well, you also have the same kind of similar kind of concept on the eviscerate when you build all these stacks up. So yeah, I mean, that's really nice. And but if you only focus on this part, you realize that you actually have a lot of fury going on, because this is a basic power. It's not a bad basic power. It has a damage over time component to it. Is likely to be one of the better basic power, but without this basic power, it's almost impossible to regenerate fury, because, you know, fury on its own will not get regenerated. You have to either use a basic power or use a Pharaoh Roar to generate the fury. All right, those are resource. So yeah, I mean. So after you've done all these things, you realize that, you know, you could do a little bit more. So that is where the adamantium wheel, the power tree, comes in the picture. Impale is a wonderful power, because it does give you nice brutal damage rating, and for Wolverine, it's actually one of the heroes whereby it has the highest crit and the brutal. I mean, I don't really gear too hard on him. With only the axe, grade 70, I'm getting around you know, close to 60% crit, and the brutal is about 65% brutal. So those are pretty decent number. I'm sure you can do better when you know, if you really committed in gearing him with a proper grade 80 legendary and so on. But I mean, these are very encouraging numbers to have. All right. And you know, Furious Assault is one of the 15-second cooldown signature. You don't find that in many heroes at all, because a lot of heroes have much longer signature, and his signature hitting pretty hard for a single target. All right, and I choose the Chundan no Kame for the stance on the DPS. I'll talk a little bit about that choice later with the numbers and so on. So for DPS, this one is actually better than the other one. Then on the other side, just one point on the adamantium skeleton to give me kind of like you know, defense as well as physical damage rating. It actually could have been a better power, but you know, I don't really enjoy investing on the tenacity. So yeah, I mean, it seems a little bit of waste. And Webwork is wonderful. You have this very like a Wolverine on steroid with the Webwork going on, and the cooldown 20 seconds, but it gets lower and lower as you gain more, you know, as you defeat other enemies. So, you know, it is on paper it's 20 seconds, but it's much less. One point on can't keep it down to break the crowd control. And regretfully, for this build, I'm unable to work the vulnerability debuff into this build because you need to have the landing sweep every 4 seconds. The power itself has a really low DPS. It's not really worth putting any points in it. The only thing that's good from here is a 10% damage for 4 seconds. It's very regretful because I can't fit anything here already because F1, by the way, is if you look at my power distribution, F1 is on the charge, the launch, and then F2 is the keep it down, which is the crowd control breaker. F3 is the roar itself because I can't fit the roar here at all, and then F4 is the stance, 朱丹诺卡妹. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shame that I can't work this one in, which is I've been trying so hard to make it work, but it becomes very clunky gameplay wise. I wish that this vulnerability debuff is on this raw instead. So when you raw, you apply weaken and vulnerability, right? I don't know, man. I mean, that's how the game is being designed, all right? So that is for the DPS build. For the survivability build, let me show you this one. Well, this one is more for Cosmic Patrol. I'm using this lens is Berserker Warpath because they give you a much better defense rating. And then after that, I move the points. Instead of maxing this guy, I move the points into here Unstoppable Beast because I need a kind of like a health and health regen going along with it. And also I put 1 point on the Borrowed Ride because in a Cosmic Patrol environment, it is important to be able to get to point A, point B rather seamlessly and fast. And Midtown Manhattan is all straight row anyway, so this is very nice, the bro ride. And anyway, it's not really for DPS, either 1 point here or extra point here. I may as well have this one. And I map it to F5, that is the bike. So the bike is actually very nice. It's like a Ghost Rider kind of thing. It just go around like this. And yeah, so that is the build that I have. Let me just go back to my DPS build. So next bit is about the gear and so on. So let me just put back my gear onto Wolverine. So yeah, I mean, why should you play Wolverine? I mentioned before, Wolverine is a very nice single target, kind of a killer, which I think he should be. He's relatively weak on the area part, which is unfortunate because when it comes to Cosmic Patrol, it's important to dispatch the group of enemy fast because they hit really hard or everything sums up. So compared to other heroes that has a decent amount of area damage, you can compare to many melee heroes that have much better area damage than Wolverine. It makes his survivability in a Cosmic Patrol rather undesirable. I mean, that is my only regret of gearing him up, in the sense that he can't really do well in all the content, at least from my perspective. I wish that he could have more love in the area damage department, since they can't make him really a very excellent single target thing. I understand, because for raiding, if you make one hero to be such superb in single target damage, then everybody raiding will pick Wolverine, which was the case when raiding first came out. So yeah, I wish there was some other ways to help out Wolverine in some sense. But anyway, enough of that. In terms of gear wise, you can see my gear is pretty standard. There aren't many unicorn items in there. So if you have the Gorilla necklace, use it. Germ of the Curse, use it. Hand of Doom, use it. So these are very nice items. But if you don't, then you have a Poor Man Germ of the Curse, which this one, the roll is not bad. I want to buff a little bit on the brutal department. I'll tell you a little bit more on why it is so. And this one again, the crit damage will go into brutal as well, so I can't enjoy it. And for all physical hero, this is nice to have both health and physical as well, and metasensory. So, but like I said, if you can do better into the artifact, please do so. As for the medallion, the best of course is the curse that looks something like this. Now this is not a very nice roll, but if you got a decent roll, it's nice because it has a crit and brutal components to it that add up a bit more. But I prefer to have some health to it because Wolverine is still kind of fragile even after the unit upgrade. I mean, I play other hero like She-Hulk or Miss Marvel, you know, those are pretty strong in terms of the Cosmic Patrol, but the Wolverine is just, you know, because it doesn't have the kind of area damage or area stun as much as I wish. Okay, in terms of rune word, Bone Breaker is a poor man kind of like a rune word on him. If you really like him, you probably would like to go for God of Mischief. That is require quite a lot of Loki runes, and yeah, I mean you can use it on him for that. But if not, then you can use a Bone Breaker. It's not bad with the +1 strength as well as the melee. All right, and as for the relics, is the you know, melee relics is good. I don't think you need the you know, health regeneration anyway, because he has a lot of health regen. Health regeneration is not a problem for Wolverine. His problem is the, you know, taking care of the area for the mob. So that you can't do anything, not even with that kind of life on hit kind of thing. So I'm not talking about the legendary yet. I'll show you a little bit a graph later for you to decide, because you have to probably see some numbers to get convinced. But I think for grade 80, let's start with grade 80, right? For grade 80, if you follow this build, which use the Chundan no Game, Nullifier could well be one of the best choice. I'll show you the number later, which is kind of shocking to me, because I always thought that Nullifier is kind of crap. But it actually beat the X grade 80 a little bit. Very little, very tiny, like less than 1%, which is very insignificant. Because you may need to switch between the build, and you may not have Trudan no Kame, then I would still advise you to take the X for grade 80, alright? Now, for grade 70 is interesting, because the grade 70 Nullifier actually looks pretty good as well, very comparable to the grade 80 items. And and although, you know, it may not be fully utilized when I use the Cosmic Patrol for Wolverine, I would certainly use a Nullifier for grade 70, because it's so close to the grade 80 items. And henceforth, you know, I'm going to just sell away this one and replace that with a Nullifier for grade 70. Just because, you know, I can't afford grade 80. But for grade 80, I would still advise you to use, you know, Axe, just in case you don't have the kind of like brutal and crit that like I do, alright? So that's all I'm trying to say. For the unique is all his unique. It's fine. I mean, some nowadays a lot of people like to go far and beyond to get some of this raid unique. My stance is that you know, with the hero being revealed on all these unique, I mean these uniques are pretty decent as well, because it adds ranks, a lot of ranks that you need. For your hero, some of these, like, you know, look at all this. If you can get max rank 7, those are pretty nice. Yeah, so I personally I would not go out of the way to get the raid item or craft the raid item. But if you do, you know, please go ahead. I mean, you know, it's, you know, some like to get the max out of me and just get a little bit more, right? So yeah, and you know, for this enchanting, this one is a melee for the slot 1 and slot 5. For the middle one, you can do health, or, you know, I don't think you need spirit or fury. I use wealth because I'm running out of money already, because all this like crafting costs a lot of money. So yeah, so that is the, you know, how I built him. In terms of pets, is the this one is very standard. Health, spirit or fury, brutal damage, +1 to all powers, and +3 fighting. And the insignia, you know, pick something that is nice for him. I pick something that both benefit the melee, because not many hero does pure melee. He's one of them. And you know, I don't really need crit, but I just you know, since it's in my bank, so why not just use it? All right. So, and the costume. Let's talk about costume. I got 2 costumes for Wolverine. So one is the crit damage rating, +1 strength, and you know, this is, Wolverine is one of those heroes whereby you do not need a 20% you know, med kit, you know, to recover spirit, 100 spirit, kind of like med core, you know, sorry, costume core. So it's very nice. I could use a life on hit. It's doing all right. But in the Cosmic Patrol environment, I use this one, which is a health, and the I really need the invulnerable. It could be a waste to use this core into health costume, but I really needed something that help him on the cosmic patrol, because without the invulnerable is even worse than and if I use life on hit, which I did, it's not enough health that I regenerate. So yeah, I mean it's a pity, but it is what it is. All right. So before I go into okay, so yeah, why not I go finish off with the Omega system as well as the synergy. And for those who would like to stay on for the mathematics part of it, I welcome you to do so. All right. So when it comes to Omega system, the 10 points on spin tag, and the this day I enjoy 3 points here, 6 points here, get a little bit of health, get a little bit of health regen. And the 5 on strength is a very nice note. Another 5 point here is good enough, and then 1 point here. I don't really have enough Omega point to go around. Otherwise, this is quite a nice note as well. And the 13 on this one, they give me the extra crit, extra brutal. And after that, 5 point here, give me health as well as strength, and a nice size increase. Right? And the guild suppression as well as the tactical neural implants, those 5 points sufficient. No need to pay too much for it. Too many things, good things to pick up. No need to max up anything, making sure that you don't pay too much for it. And then after that, 6 points here because it gives you the crit damage rating. And after that, 9 points on Warpath to give you a +9 fighting. And 4 points on the Sabertooth. Give you a little bit of health regen, brutal, and brutal damage. That's about it. Hero synergy wise, there's nothing different from what I do, except Dr. Doom, because his signature kind of I can use his signature quite often, every 15 seconds, and actually he's pretty hard as well. So why not just add another 10% on it just for fun of it? But the rest of it is very straightforward. Just pick anything melee, pick anything physical. The crit here from Moon Knight, and then yeah, I mean that's all it is. And the bleed as well, because I want the damage versus bleeding. All right, so yeah, I mean that is all the power build, Omega system as well as the and so on. So I think the next bit is about the rotation, just to make sure that I get you guys going to understand what needs to be done. So when it comes to Wolverine, the 3 bleed is important. So Crimson Lip is 1 bleed. All right. Then after that, the basic is another bleed. Then the bloody sweep is another bleed. So 3 bleed on, you can do it eviscerate. All right. Eviscerate costs you. It has a 3-second cooldown. So in the event whereby you're not quite sure when is the best time to rebuff your Crimson Lip, and because these are all 6 seconds, so every second before you do a second eviscerate, you repeat these 2. It is important to reapply the stacks. All right. Impale is 8 seconds. So whenever impale goes up, you go impale, and then after that you have the of course the signature as well as the wet word. So what I usually do after I've done the Pharaoh raw is that I go in 1, 2, 3, then impale, then wet word, then the signature, regain my fury, eviscerate. After that 1, 2, then wait for it, come back up. Then after that I'll get my impale as well. That's it. That's all you need. Then the whole thing repeat again. All right. So just make sure you got 3 stacks, and then for every second eviscerate, reapply Crimson Lip and Bloody Sweet prior to that. Use your Furious Assault to regenerate your Fury as well as the Raw as well whenever you can. Just make sure this is up all time. And then Wet Word as and when you have, then Impale is a big hit. Alright, so that is all the rotation you need. The next bit of it, if you like stay on, is about the mathematics behind it. Alright. Alright, now on to the numbers. And okay, so as always, I look at the hero without any gear, no Omega point, hero synergy, team up gear, and so on. Just take everything away, and study the build a little bit on the where are the area I could work on and so on. So his basic is actually quite quite basic. Yeah, it's about 22k DPS compared to, say, if you take the the Savage Slash, which is the main spender, if you can keep up with the Spirit cost or Fury cost, it does about 36k, so it's a substantial difference as a main spender. The only saving grace is that this is a very nice Fury generator, so you look at it as a resource generation, because Fury on its own will not get regenerated over time, and then also an extra stack of Bloody's Claw will give you the extra 20% on Eviscerate if you keep up the cooldown. So if you think about it that way, I mean, it is a decent power to use. But the other option, of course, is on the Savage Slash. But I presume if you do this one, you probably will run into a resource issue. I tried it. It costs so much resource. I mean, it's 19.4 is humongous. It's huge as a single spender, so it's not viable for me, but maybe you could do something on it. But this is really about the bleed build. So you have Bloody Sweep, which is reapply at 6 seconds and still about 10k, so that is nice. It's along with my expectation. It has a direct damage component to it. All right, and the eviscerate always use it of 3 stat. It's really nice for every 3-second cooldown, you got 21k DPS. This is a very nice stuff to have. And Crimson Leap being a power without cooldown and still have 10k. So, there's a lot of love in the Feral Claws department. I think it's good enough to make up for the lack of, or the, mandatory of using basic power. I think it's more than enough to make up for it, all right? And then you have the Rending Sweep, which is the vulnerability debuff. You see the DPS here is really extremely low compared to others, so I wouldn't really recommend that on Wolverine. I can't even work it into my rotation. Impale is also pretty nice as well. I mean, in terms of the DPS for 8-second cooldown, it is not as great as Eviscerate, so always keep your Eviscerate on. The great thing about the Impale though is the brutal damage strike. So, brutal damage buff, because it buffed the brutal compartment. When Wolverine does so much brutal, so much crit, it becomes very, very nice to have Impale. So yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of interesting numbers on the damage per resource being used. The resource, of course, is Fury. You can see that some of this has a pretty, some of them is pretty efficient, like the Crimson Leap. Some of them is not, like the Impale, right? Because Impale take a whole chunk of Fury. I don't even know how they come up with this guy here. It's just so unrealistic. But I guess if it is, I think it's just the whole design of it. So yeah, I mean, that is the how I choose a build, how I pick the build based on number. Then the next one is that, shall you be doing defense or shall you be doing dodge? So I always look into the two, like my Nightcrawler video. Sometimes I want to understand the number. Sometimes it surprises me, sometimes it doesn't. So, this is one of those things that I'm glad that I went through the number itself, both on this one and next one later. So I compare Chundan no Kame as well as Berserker Warpath rank. So let's do a rank 31 first, meaning that just put 1 point to it, you gain 31 in my case. So, defense of the Berserker Warpath rank is of course higher, but the dodge side of it is pretty high for the Chundan no Kame. And imagine if the incoming damage is 100 units, and the and work through a number when a dodge succeed, when a dodge fail. You can see that if you use Berserker Warpath, the maximum damage received is actually lesser than the Chundan no Kame. When it comes to the average damage received, you are more or less, the two toggles more or less the same in terms of toggle damage, in terms of damage received. But when it comes to the cosmic patrol environment, this is what kills your hero, because you are receiving at the spike of it. So when you fail to dodge, this is the one that kills your hero quicker, because of the you can't save yourself from all this spike or huge damage. And if you look at the rank 50, meaning that if you put all the points in it, and with my gear I get rank 50, again the average damage received is more or less the same, depending either toggle is fine, but look at the peak itself is also another, like you're looking at 6% kind of like spike damage. It's a lot, because imagine a lot of like mobs around you. This is the spike that you can't live with in a cosmic patrol environment. So it's very clear. So the story here is, if you're going for cosmic patrol, you better use Berserker Warpath, all right? So then after that, I look at the two toggles. So okay, look, because Chunda no Kame give me the kind of like crit hit rating, brutal strike rating, and the Berserker give me close to 1000 physical damage rating. So I look through my number with my base physical, whatnot that I add to it. Then I look at my melee crit as well. Now, the crit for the for Wolverine comes from both the physical crit as well as melee crit. So when you do theory crafting, just make sure that you take the higher one, which is going to be the physical, but you know that the melee is going to be disadvantaged by the physical, at least for the synergy part, which is 4%. So you have to work all the number in again. So anyway, I worked through all this number and I realized that if I use Chunda no Kame, I get quite a lot of like damage increase. Of course, this is before all the procs and so on, because this is no proc. This one I actually tested with making sure that I hit the target and get my crit to up, because as Wolverine hit the target, the kind of like crit goes up as well, and Pharaoh Roar as well. But comparing the two, the difference is there. The difference is pretty substantial when it comes to the how much you gain over the baseline. So I would strongly suggest, if you go for a DPS kind of setting, use Chunda no Kame. But if you need the survivability, use the other one, which is great design, because this is something that I really look forward to. Something that not just one toggle is always better than the other. You got to choose depending on which works for you. All right. So in terms of legendary, I walked through all the numbers. I'm not going to bore you with all these numbers and so on. But this is the graph they like to look into. So the top of the list is Nullify 80 and Axe 80, both at 100%. Well, close enough. It's 99.8. So I was saying that these two is very close to each other. I would still recommend the Axe because at that tier, if you want to toggle between the two build, you can still get the best from the Axe rather than the Nullifier. But look at where the Nullifier 70 cuts in, right? What it means is that if I'm using a Nullifier grade 70, I'm only 3% off from you guys who spend 1000 OD mark. That is very remarkable. Yeah, but of course that 3% could mean a lot, because Wolverine's damage is very high. It's about 1002, man. This is one of the number I seldom see, in any spreadsheet that I've done on this theory crafting. So this is a very high number. So that 3% may still be quite a fair bit. I think it could still be quite a fair bit, but yeah, So yeah, take a look at this graph here. So the message is very clear on what I need to do, and I have something work to do. I need to sell off my Axe and get my Nullifier 70. Finally, we can use a Nullifier for Wolverine, for a hero. It's not useless at all. Yeah, but because of the high crit and high brutal. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, drop me a line on the on Wolverine, and if you like Wolverine, let me know. And if you build him differently and something worked for you, let me know too. And eager to hear what you think of Wolverine. All right. So till next time we see each other. Goodbye.